So I'll get it so you guys can see. $355 free shipping because I went to pick it up. It was a local sale. They are all non-functioning, untested, so yeah.
Good morning everyone, Jory here, welcome to Good Used Goods. Today's video, we got NES cards, and I'm filming a new intro beside my computer because for whatever reason, the only part of the video I shot, the intro part, is just a complete corrupt file. So here I am redoing this. Long story short, I won a auction at Goodwill for a large lot of N64 and SNES cards, all untested. So I kind of rolled with it. I spent a little over $300 on it. It was all untested, but I had good faith because I don't know if any of you saw the previous video for a couple videos back. I bought a whole bunch of NES console systems, all as is, untested, and like 3 out of the 10 didn't actually work and needed cleaning, and 1 was just completely unrepairable. So I kind of went off that going, well, maybe they were just too busy. Maybe they didn't have time to test the cards. I don't really know. So I dropped the money on them, I cleaned them all up, and you guys can see how well I did and if I made any money or lost money. Spoiler alert, I made some money.
So I might as well just share the first thing I got. So the first thing I won is actually for me. I have a PS, well, this is going to get sold because I have no use for this. But I have a PS4 Pro with the VR set, the newer VR set. It's actually a lot of fun. And it's funny, these were worth nothing, and then PS4 came out with their VR, and they used these, and all of a sudden these went up in price. I should have kept a bunch of them. So I only had one of these, and there's so much money, so I won all this for about 60 bucks, a little over $60, with the charger and these little parts too. So that's more just for me, my collection. You could probably get a little more than this, maybe make yourself 10, 20 bucks at that price point. But yeah, it's a little, yeah. I wouldn't spend that normally if I'm flipping. And then I'm going to test everything on that fancy, oh god, it's dusty, TV. It is actually, if you guys have never seen these before, and you see any of these out in the wild, this is a PlayStation 3 3D TV, and it is way ahead of its time for what it was, because when it came out, this is a 240 hertz monitor that does 3D, and a cool feature about this, and I used it with my buddy, if you play 2-player games, instead of having the split screen, you can each wear the glasses. It displays in 720p because it's got to cut the resolution in half, and you each see a different thing when you're looking at the screen. For any tech people interested, like that's what it looks like at the back. You got an HDMI 1 and 2. You got component in, headphone jack. This is actually for like a tiny little subwoofer, then you got your speakers. The problem with this is these are fake grills, so are these. These things overheat and they fail all the time, and they have a flickering issue. It is so hard to find these working. So I just like having it in the collection. But if you do find these with the glasses too, the 3D glasses, you can get an easy $200 plus Canadian for these little flat screen TVs. So for those of you who have never seen one, this is the Hyperkin Retron5. This is the special edition one that just recently came out. That's pretty nice packaging. Pretty cool. Bubble wrap. Has some nice colors. Alrighty. Got your, oh, that's nice. Got your HDMI cord there. Your very stupid, I'm assuming, controller plug. Long cord, very long cord. Power supply with European adapters, or whatever country you may be in. Oh, it's charged. Garbage controller. Garbage controller. All those buttons don't feel good at all.
Well, seeing as this is the video that seems to have plagued me with issues with corrupt video files and now somehow lost audio, I am just going to dump over a little bit of this. So this is the Retron5. You can see you can plug in an NES controller, you can plug in a Sega Genesis controller, and you can plug in a Super Nintendo controller. You could use a Super Nintendo controller to play NES or Sega Genesis games, or vice versa, or GameCube games, or not GameCube games, sorry, Game Boy games. This is not the greatest thing in the world. Here's the thing with these. If you're very new to retro gaming and you want a cheap way to play a whole bunch of your old games, I definitely suggest one of these. It's going to be the easiest plug and play option you could ever do to plug it into your TV. Now, if you're a tech guy, you're going to be like, well, it's the same as emulating. It is, but this will dump a whole ROM cart, so it helps me know if the carts are good. Now, on the flip side, if you're a reseller and you don't want to have a bunch of different consoles hooked up to test carts, this won't do N64 though, but this is a great option. They're, you know, I think they're about $140 or so. And yeah, you can test your Game Boy games, your Game Boy Advance games, Game Boy Color games, SNES games, NES games, Sega Genesis games. If you got the adapter, you could test Sega Master System games. It'll also work on Famicom and Super Famicom, which is the Japanese Chinese version of SNES and NES games. It'll work on European games as well. So it's a really handy device to have, to just be able to pull out, hook up to a flat screen TV with an HDMI and a power cord, and just go to work testing your consoles. And on top of that too, I don't really want to put old dirty consoles into some of my really nice original, or old dirty consoles, old dirty, you guys know what I mean, old dirty carts into my original consoles and risk getting dirt and debris and rust bits and who knows what else bugs inside my original console. So yeah, this is the junk unit for testing. Here is my buy. There's the auction win all stacked up. There's a few I looked at closely when I got them that I don't think are ever gonna work. Mostly those old Game Boy games down there, the Pokemon Color ones. Some of them weren't too bad though. Some legitimately had rust and rot inside the board. If you know what, if 80% of these work, I'm hoping 80% of them working cleaned up, I should be able to double my money. There's nothing super valuable in here, but there's some easy sellers like Donkey Kong Country, Super Mario Kart, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, your Super Mario Worlds, Star Fox. These are all ones that just, not a Zelda, Rampage, they're not super high value ones, you know, $20, $30, $40, $50 type deal, but they're all very fast selling ones that are sought after. So the game I'm about to test here is actually not one I won from the auction. It's just one of the games that was a favorite of mine as a child. It's a Sega Genesis game. I actually just recently found the case for it. It's called Wings of War. It's a side-scrolling shooter, I guess you could call it. It's actually a pretty rare game. If you can find that game, Sega Genesis game, it's worth about $80 to $100 how it sits there. I just wanted to plug it in because I was more curious about this Retron. I've owned older Retrons, never this one. I wanted to see sort of input lag, how the picture looked, how it performed, how bad that controller actually is, because I've heard it is just absolutely horrendous. I will say though, once this thing booted up, it looked great, the picture looked great, and it performed like it should. I got rid of that stupid wireless and switched to the SNES, which is an okay one. I will say I'm an audio snob, and the audio is not on par with a good original system. That is one downfall. Alright, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this. So you're going to need metal polish. That's for cleaning the pins on the cart. Pretty self-explanatory. Q-tips, putting the polish on the cart and taking the polish off the cart pins. Next, after that, you're going to want some toothbrushes. This is for just cleaning the plastics of the carts and getting in the pores and the grooves. And then to get the wax residue off, you're going to need rubbing alcohol and some tools to open the carts. N64, SNES use a security bit. There's your rubbing alcohol. You don't want to leave wax on the carts. It can leave residue and a film and actually prevent the cart from working. So you're going to want to clean it with alcohol every time you polish a cart pin, regardless of the metal polish you use. Alright, so the very first thing I'm going to do is awkwardly stare into the camera with my cart. No, I'm going to just, before I really give them a hard clean, I'm just going to quickly get a Q-tip, some rubbing alcohol, and give it just the basics to see if it's going to even function. Because some of these carts didn't look too bad, and the solution might just be a little bit of rubbing alcohol and a Q-tip. So I'll do that first. I'll test them. All the ones that work I'll set aside for further cleaning of the actual cart, and the ones that don't work I'll set to a different pile so that I can come back to them later with the metal polish. Anyways, on that note, cue cleaning montage. So here we go on the very first cart. As you can see, boom, fired up with just a little bit of rubbing alcohol. Mario Kart 64, or not 64, Super Mario Kart. There's a, $30 back already. I want to take this time to mention too, if you guys are ever cleaning carts, don't blow in them. I know it worked as a kid. I know it still works now. The reason it works is your breath and the moisture cause the PCB board to swell up, so it makes better contacts with the metal fingers on the cart when inserting it into the console. The problem with that is you're putting moisture into the cart, which eventually oxidizes the little copper pads or fingers or whatever you want to call them that go inside the system, and then that moisture can get in the system and it causes issues after. So Don't blow in your carts. Clean them with rubbing alcohol and a Q-tip like you just saw me do. Works perfect, see? And then it's good. All right, time to take this thing apart. Now, if you guys have never taken apart an SNES, N64, or original Nintendo cartridge, you will need either a 3.8mm or a 4.5mm tri-wing security screwdriver bit. That's what they're called. They can be found on Amazon for like $6. They're super, super cheap. I take the carts apart sometimes when they need a thorough cleaning, or so I can really easily get to those little metal pins with the metal polish to see if I can save it and make sure it works. Also, I mean, I know these ones are original, but it's a good idea to open up valuable carts that you buy off people if they're in really pristine condition and check those PCB boards, the motherboards, circuit boards, whatever you want to call them in there, PCBs. Make sure they're real. There's lots of ways to tell. You can hop on Google and you can just take a quick image look, type in the cart you're looking at, Mega Man 3 cart, and then look at the circuit board. You'll see there might be a couple varying differences, but basically you're gonna see what a OEM cart should look like. And if your circuit board and cart look the same, then you're probably safe, because unfortunately fakes are a thing nowadays, especially with the value of some of these games. But as you can see, just go around, scrub up all the pins. I clean it all down without rubbing alcohol, and then I put it all back together. And if you already have the cart taken fully apart to clean the PCB board, now's the best time to take your little toothbrush and some cleaning product, rubbing alcohol, whatever you prefer to use, and go around and clean out all the grooves and everything. Try not to get the labels too wet on these, especially NES carts and N64 carts. N64 carts more than anything, if you, as Justin Trudeau says, breathe too moistly towards them, you will affect the label. So, you know, you don't want to get them wet. SNES carts and NES carts, so they have a bit of a clear coat, almost like a gloss paper. And if you use very, very light cleaner, just lightly rub over top of the carts, you can clean dirt and debris off it without hurting the cart. But again, you don't want to soak it, then you'll get the stickers lifting and you'll just have damage. Now, I'm definitely not going to show you guys me cleaning up every single cart, because after you see the first one or two, it's basically the same thing. It's just rinse and repeat for every cart past that, and hope each one, you know, kind of works like it should. So anyways, we'll fast forward, we'll get past this, and we'll see how many carts actually worked out of this lot and how many did not. So, I've now cleaned them all. All of these ones work. All these N64 ones work except for one game, one Zelda or Ocarina of Time, unfortunately. So that one, I will put in a lot. I'll set it aside, and maybe I'll just lot up all the broken ones and sell them again. Just let's broken, cleaned them, didn't work. But all these ones work. So already off this, I'm pretty well, probably broke even. There's probably, without me really adding it up, about $300 worth of games there, if not a bit more. All right, so this is the last little lot of games that really didn't work. Unsurprisingly, none of the Game Boy Pokemon games worked. They were rusty on the inside. When I looked in them, I knew it was game over. Same with this Mario Kart, rusty on the inside. I tried it, but the pins were so damaged, I can't get it to read. Maybe someone could solder the tracers. I don't know. Star Fox, same thing. Could not get it to work, as well as Donkey Kong Country and The Drive. Anyways, a little over $300 spent. You saw the price at the beginning. I made a total of $782 in sales when this is said and done. Every single game has sold since the making of this video, including the broken ones, which went for $25 locally to a guy who just wanted them for the cases because he had damaged labels, and I never even thought about that. And yeah, I was happy to sell it to him. So good money. That profit is not counting fees that eBay takes off, so you know, take that into consideration. But I more than doubled my money on it, or at least doubled my money on it after fees. I was happy to get them all. I didn't keep any of them because none of them were boxed. That's twice now from the Goodwill. I've got as-is broken things that have been, for the most part, pretty good and just required a bit of a clean. I assume it's because they probably don't have the time to be doing it like that, like when they get that much. I'm sure they just test it. If it works, great. If it doesn't, they set it aside. That's been the case so far. I'm sure I'm going to get burned one of these days buying as-is things. Anyways, guys, as always, that's the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, give me a like. It helps the channel. Subscribe for more if you want, even though I am pretty sparse on the videos. I'm not gone. I'm just not posting consistently. Typical YouTube, pretty much meme at this point, I guess, or just a regular thing YouTubers say. Anyways, guys, again, enjoy it. Thanks. See you in the next video. Bye for now.